I want to be bringing you in this video a deep, honest dive into the technical analysis of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some major altcoins. I understand right now the market is still in recovery mode. There's still a lot of fear, understandably. We just saw a $20,000 drop on Bitcoin in one day, spiking $19 billion of liquidations. And I know this is a popular headline right now. It's going around left, right, and center, so that probably might not be news to you. What a lot of people are not understanding is the context behind this massive liquidation run. So I want to be, of course, talking about the liquidations. And if you look at the FTX liquidation spike, if you look at the 2020 COVID liquidation spike, they actually signaled the bottom of the move for a full massive reversal, pumps to new all-time highs. So when we compare yesterday's $19 billion of liquidations to the FTX massive crash and the COVID crash, both of them ending in full-blown reversals, are we about to see the same here? Well, myself, let me tell you, as a truly technical trader, a trader that will more than happily take shorts at key resistances and more than happily take longs at key supports, I'm not a perma bull or a perma bear. I am not trying to just look one. I will never be looking at one direction solely of the market. We have to have a bullish plan, which is a full reversal. We have to have the understanding that the start of a bear market could have just occurred. All we need to look for is the highest probability trade setups, thus giving us the highest probability market direction, and that's what we're going to trade with. So yeah, I truly mean it. This video is going to be a deep dive into the technical analysis. You're going to have a great understanding of this and the next high probability move by the end of this video. And I want to address some of the insider trader claims, which kind of made me laugh. And of course, we're going to start off, though, with looking at those claims, or not the claims. We're going to start off with the $19 billion of liquidations. So yeah, of course, you're going to start off by comparing this to the COVID crash and the FTX crash, which is when we saw in recent times the highest amount of dollar liquidations. This was the post that went viral, we could say, and this is because CZ from Binance quote tweeting it, right? But there was no context given behind this. And so I wanted to expand upon this because I would never just look at something at face value. Let's say, this post is trying to, point towards, or it is the highest dollar value, but it's not the highest percentage in liquidations. Why? Well, think about this. In March 2020, when the COVID full liquidation happened, we had about 1.2 billion in liquidations. And the most important factor here is the market cap at that time was only $150 billion. So that's equaling around 0.8% of the entire market, liquidated overnight. So what happened here yesterday, well, no, 2 days ago now, of course, we saw $19 billion. So yeah, the highest dollar amount, but that's only sat towards 0.5% of the market. And of course, the percentage drop as well was smaller. So for me, what the takeaway here is not just looking, okay, we saw $19 billion of liquidations. Well, of course, when you really understand this, of course, we're going to have just seen the highest dollar amount of liquidations on a big move to the downside when our market cap is now sat towards $4 trillion. So it's only natural that when the market cap is $4 trillion, of course, it's going to be having more liquidations at 19 billion than when the market cap was 150 billion. What matters here is the percentage of that. And the percentage of liquidations was smaller this time round a few days ago than it was in the COVID crash. Okay, and I think that was just something that you have to understand because it's a little bit misleading when you just look at the dollar values there. So I wanted to just start off with that. But yeah, when we look at the FTX collapse and when we look at the March 2020 COVID crash, they both signal the absolute low for full reversals, pumps to come after that. So that in that regards, this can absolutely equal opportunity. But again, we cannot just look at two scenarios and think we have it a high probability to just randomly long here. We want to actually wait for some nice setups to form. And that's what we're going to be looking at today, some actual good trade setups on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, and some altcoins, where I'm not sure if you saw this, but for example, Atom actually hit 0.1 cent. I went to basically zero and pumped up 12,000%. So there's some. Let me just show you this because this one was look at that. That is wicking down to 0.01 cent and an instant bounce of 306,000%. in a matter of minutes. But that one was crazy. I think Atom was the most extreme. But even on your high caps, you saw major high cap altcoins such as Bitcoin, Solana. You saw Avalanche. It's just some major altcoins also getting, that 80% drops to the downside. So what I'm saying is there's definitely going to be lining up with massive opportunities. There are for sure massive opportunities to be had here. When we just look at Bitcoin on itself, I have been, of course, trading primarily in recent times off of two things. Well, I've been looking at the order flow, which is my always number one go-to. Been looking at some really nice harmonics recently, which lines up with Fibonacci. Market structure, of course, and the Elliott waves. So I want to start here with the Elliott waves because I still actually feel from an Elliott wave perspective, there's nothing extremely bearish here yet. This is a major drop to the downside, yes, but when we actually look at this perspective that I've got going on here with my Elliott wave count, it actually for me is still lining up with a impulsive move to the upside here. I think we can all agree this from here to here is impulsive. Do you see another impulsive move off the back of this? Well, isn't it all three wavy? Three wavy means corrective. And I know not everyone understands Elliott waves, so I will always make my Elliott waves as easy to understand as possible. And to do that, I'm just going to say this. Impulsive equals 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is, we could say, bullish. Corrective is 3 waves, forming ABCs. That is, well, sideways corrective price action. So when we take that into consideration, and I will just clear these lines up very quickly for you. Okay, we're just going to remove this and this. Well, you can start to see that this is all corrective price action. So this is impulsive. Then we go 1, 2, 3, corrective. There is no impulse here, right? 1, a smaller bullish flat, another move to the upside. So we can see 3. We can see 3. Then what goes on here? Do we get another do we get another impulsive move? No. We go into a bigger, there's clearly 3 waves here, but we can clearly see another A, B, C. So what have we got then going on? We've got an ABC followed by an ABC. Again, 3 wave, 3 wave, 3 wave. What's that giving us? A WXY. And then here is where we have a potential of a new impulse because we go 1, 2, 3. But that invalidates when? As we break down below 118K, giving us a confirmed third wave once again. Then it has given us a WXY X with a failure of the impulse with a 3 waves. And then, as I was mentioning yesterday, what have we done here? Well, we've formed a move down, and it seems the most likely that we can go B, C. So this is, for me, corrective price action, which means it is not as bearish as you might believe. Of course, this is a massive move to the downside. If my count is correct here, we are still looking for new all-time highs to come. And I want to show you this trend line because this trend line was amazing. This was from the low of the 2 connected to the 4. And this is the way that I do Elliott waves. I'm using trend lines with my Elliott waves, and I will always connect. This is a rule. I have a whole Elliott wave course on our website where you will connect the bottom of wave 2 to the bottom of wave 4. And I just want to show you the accuracy of that move to the downside. This is to the dollar. Literally wicking into that trend line. So for me, this is extremely important, extremely actually very big bit of information. And again, this is using the Ray tool. So there's no there's no little bit. Sometimes people will draw their trend lines like, oh, yeah, look at this, the trend line. Where no, we're using the Ray tool and we're going from the exact low of our wave 2 to the exact low of our wave 4. And then we hit it to the dollar on this drop. So this is, of course, where we could then within, if we're looking at this as a WXYXZ, there could be a way that this is the low in terms of putting in within here a smaller ABC. Rather than zigzag, we form a bit of a flat. Would not be my preferred scenario, but it's something that as an Elliott wave trader, I have to be understanding that we could form some sort of flat within here, not breaching new lows. But I'm going to go on to that during the rest of this video. But for me, just, the count is very well respected with the overall 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Within the overall 1, 2, 3, it is still giving higher price targets towards new all-time highs. So, that is something that for me, we are not going to be ignoring, this. And I want to just address something very quickly. And that was when we put in this high at $126,000. I want to play you a very quick, this is about 20-second clip here, just so you can start to get into my brain of how we were looking at that high, which of course I have a short open from $126,000. This is not to brag, but just to show you that this was predictable in terms of a flush to the downside. Let me just play you this very quick Elliott wave clip. I'm not advocating to take longs here at $125,000, right? I want to make that very clear. Never would I ever be taking a long trade here. Extremely late to the move. You are into a key massive resistance level of the 1618. If you are longing here, you are, I'm not even sure I can say the word because it's going to be that mean. You are just very silly. If you are taking the longs up here, what are you doing with, I don't know, again, I'm not going to say, but I would not be taking longs up here. You are extremely late to the move into a key resistance level. So, I think I make my opinion very clear there, right? We're moving into $126,000, which is our key resistance. I made it very good. Key resistance. This is where we want to get and look for larger pullbacks to the downside, larger drops to come. And the precision of that level, right? It's the precision of that 1618. And I've said it once, but I want to emphasize this again, that this is the exact same high pivot that we done when we chimed the $69,000 high. So when I shorted $69,000 back in 2021, which was predicted and called ahead of time for a $69,000 all-time high Bitcoin, which of course led to a bear market. That was off of an Elliott wave count where we were using Fibonacci speed fans with Fibonacci time with Fibonacci extensions, leading us into an Elliott wave count. And it all come off the back of a 1618. And that was the same time around this time. And that led into this larger pullback to the downside. And then as soon as we broke above the top of that one, well, that invalidated a 3 and it gave us an X. And that is then when you get that massive confirmed weakness for that larger drop to the downside. But still, after we hit into 126 and we were still trading at $123,000 is when I started to feel that this is going to lead to the bigger drop. Although we're looking for another all-time high to come locally, off the 4th to the 5th, my heart and my intuition was telling me the high is already in here at $126,000 and, bigger drop is going to be underway. So that's where I can say that the intuition there, of course, was very helpful. And I'd have to pin that along to the altcoins. But in terms of, a pure Elliott wave structure, I wouldn't be, and linking it to the FTX crash, which led to a massive pump, the COVID crash, which led to a massive pump. This liquidation run that we've seen on Bitcoin, $19 billion liquidated, or this cryptocurrency, right, market. But this is really not something that I can ignore when I pair it to the fact that this trend line, there is a definitely bullish case to have, but I want to expand upon that and I want to start to then link it to the altcoins because it wasn't just Bitcoin that made me lean this bearish, right? It wasn't just Bitcoin hitting into the target, but it also coincided with the altcoins. And I just want to, again, this is another just 20-second clip here, but just so you can understand the context very quickly. I will be shorting Ethereum there if we can come up and make another high. That is the range high for me. That's a front runner to range high and the anchored VWAP. So it's either so weak it can't even hit that and it's down from here. I'm pretty confident in Ethereum drop. I would love to short Ethereum on a fake out of that high, to be totally honest with you. I'll be looking to take my shorts there on Ethereum down to new lows. So yeah, it's really not a bad short, right? From here all the way back down to here. At the very least, I think it can run for more. Really, really not a bad little trade. So this is what you have to bear in mind. If Ethereum is dropping, my friends, all these altcoins that I've just talked you through are all going to drop. Like, they're all going to drop. So some of these So you kind of get the idea there. We had the $126,000 hit on Bitcoin. I looked at Ethereum, I analyzed Ethereum, and I said, wow, this is extremely bearish. For me, Bitcoin, definitely leaning bearish. But in terms of Ethereum, I was like, this is crazy bearish. Like the signs were there for a massive drop on Ethereum. And then naturally, when Ethereum drops, like my exact words were, this is going to bring down the whole of the altcoin market. Everything's going to get wrecked. If this is a major prediction, right? A major drop to the downside that I'm predicting on Ethereum. If Ethereum is looking for a 30 to 40% drop, well, these altcoins, which happens, getting 80% drops is not a surprise when you understand how the altcoin markets work. It starts with Bitcoin, trickles down to Ethereum, and that is affecting the whole altcoin market. And so when when you really understand this, it is not a surprise that the altcoins dropped 80%. I can honestly say it's not a surprise when you understand the drop on Bitcoin, the bigger drop on Ethereum. Of course, that is giving you those major drops on alts in the same video, predicting $150 Solana that hit 146 low on Bybit. For example, on Link, we were looking from $22 all the way dropping down to $10, right? These are major percentage retracements that we are predicting, to happen, whether you like it or not. That was a prediction that I not only made, but I traded. From this prediction, we had the fake out of the high. It was absolutely outstanding. There was the high that we were looking for. We had the confirmation of the short. I even said to my team, I will alert as soon as I enter the short. If I take it, I'm going to tell you straight away. The exact second, as you can see here, the print screen 1943, the post in the group 1944. Within 1 minute of taking my short, I've told everybody in the group. I've told all the champions. I've taken that short. There's no hindsight or no ifs or buts, right? And when you look at this on Ethereum, and why am I saying this? Well, I want to show you that it was truly technical. It was truly technical. You even had, after this fake out, a perfect retest of the CC. Chart champions were, as I've said, all over that short trade. And the drop, of course, very, very large drop to the downside. But it was technical, right? Technical drop on Ethereum. Technical drops on the major altcoins, $222 Solana down to $150. And that comes off the back. It comes off the back of, I just want to say this one final time, understanding that this was likely coming. The long trades that I had on Bitcoin from $50,000 closed at $123,000, and not only closed, but going short with all of the profits. I recognized we're about to see some major drops, and I didn't just recognize that and call it, but I acted on it, closing those long trades at the pretty much very high, going all in shorts with the profits. That is a call and a half. Again, on the 7th of October, this is 2 days before the crash. Closing longs on Bitcoin from $80,000, doing the same. Closing full longs on Bonk, which are in 100% profit. Closing full longs on Solana, $99 entries, closing at 123. Why? Because I'm recognizing that that was likely happening. And this all stemmed, by the way, this was before I looked at Ethereum. It confirmed for me when I looked at Ethereum, because that was the biggest bearish sign. But anyway, I want to just say that one final time. Like, everything there was technical. Everything there was technical. Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum. This was a technical drop. And some people were saying, oh, Daniel had insider trading, or there was some insider trading going on. And of course, this was this was very, 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 very confident. You can pause and read this. I was extremely confident, you could say, in the drop. You can read for yourself some of these posts. The $1 million feeling. This was a feeling. Some people said it was insider trading. I can just swear on my life, I was not insider trading. I was not insider trading. If people want insider trading, they can call me. I will be giving the tips. Of course, this is a joke, but I'm seeing these moves before they happened. There was this one link to Trump where somebody shorted 10 minutes before the drop. We were shorting 2 days before the drop. And this was based off of technical analysis. There was technical research. I can't even say the words of the people that want along here because it's so mean. Like, this is a very, very, very technical level of $126,000. And so that was the reason of me fully closing longs and going shorts. It was the reason for me getting into these. Well, Trump was an epic short trade, but $126,000 shorts. It was all technical. And that's good because you can learn it, right? You can learn it. The short that we lined up there on Ethereum, what was it? It was technical short, fake out of the high into the downtrend anchored VWAP, into a fake out of the mini range high. Bitcoin into the 1618. Like, these are very technical trades. So, some people are going to shout insider trading or whatever. In my opinion, this was all extremely technical. And whether you like it or not, there were the predictions, and not just the predictions, but the actual money, dollar amounts traded actual shorts taken, actually closing major swing longs. Like, look at that, $50,000 closing it, going straight into short trades with no hesitation, but trading, well, what I said, that feeling that I had of what was likely going to happen next. Anyway, I said I'd look at Ethereum now and a few different altcoins. So we're going to look at Ethereum. And in my opinion, Ethereum has hit into some, well, let's be honest, very big support. That $3,500 was a very nice level. But what we need to look at first of all is the ETH BTC. And this has, as you can see, hit into a nice uptrend anchored VWAP. Again, we had the lower wick. But in my opinion, between, again, on ETH BTC, so Ethereum against BTC, the bigger support there does sit at 0.03, which is around another 10%. And that would give you a fill of the wick here, right? So that would give you a fill of the wick. But there is, as I was saying yesterday, I will say this again today, the way that the New York opens tomorrow is going to be key. Why? Because we have to think, again, a lot of people are saying, oh, this drop was because of Trump. I actually had people commenting, you just got lucky on these shorts. It was all because of Trump. Trump caused the drop. It's all Trump's fault. I will say this, like the analysis and the short trades we were taking before any Trump news or tariffs. I am not going to sit here naively and say that what Trump says didn't affect the speed of the drop. But in my opinion, that drop was already going to happen. Like, that drop was happening. And then Trump, does some tariff China news and the move happened quicker. You know, was I expecting 4,500 to 3,500 in an hour? Well, I would say no. I wasn't expecting it to happen in 1 hour, but I was expecting that to happen. And so, of course, I am understanding that the Trump, what he says on Friday evening, has an effect on the market, because that is true. It had an effect. The effect is that it was speeding up what was already going to happen. So people that say, oh, you just got lucky because of Trump saying this, I totally am in disagreement of that, because it was already going to happen even if Trump said nothing. And that is from my trading, my understanding, and, well, my profits, the hard, cold zeros that I've added to my trading account off of taking those trades. And so why do I talk about this? Well, if Trump, let's say, sped up the move, but that move has hit into our major targets, well, I think it's very key then what happens on Monday, so tomorrow. So New York open, and I'm aware actually there's a holiday tomorrow in the US. So we could be saying this is linking towards Tuesday. So tomorrow is a bank holiday in the US. But I do feel that I do not feel, but the trading markets are open, but it's a bank holiday. So it's a little bit of a funny day tomorrow. But let's say giving it to Tuesday. This is a key time of the markets of how they're reacting to this news. And we also know Trump can say there's a tariff, the next day he can say he's canceling it and just, go straight back up. So I do feel that the New York Open is a key session. I would always say on the Monday, but because it's the bank holiday, I'm giving it till Tuesday. But this is going to be really key to how the markets react, whether they open and it opens with strength and there is just a buyback. Well, then I do feel there's a high pivot probability here on the markets right now on crypto, and it is another move to the upside to come. Whereas if we get the opposite of that, markets are in full fear. Stock market continues to drop from 6,500, heading that back down towards, let's say 6,000 really is the next nice support there. I mean, crypto is going to get destroyed. And that's where we start to say, bear market, to be honest with you. And how does that lead into a trading decision? I understand this is a bit of a longer video than normal, but I can't convey this information any quicker, unfortunately. How does that relate into trading decisions? Well, you have to understand, I'm here saying the market can go up, the market can go down. Some people might laugh at that. Of course, the market can go up, the market can go down, the market can go sideways. It doesn't really matter to us. What matters to us is, where is the next best trade? I'm not going to be randomly taking a gamble of the market going up or down. Okay, that is laughable. If someone just says the market can go up, the market can go down, I would say, well, thanks, where's the help in that? But if someone says the market can go up and go down, because that is what can happen, right? If you truly understand trading, that is what can happen. But the advantage and the edge here is, okay, where am I going to trade if the market goes up? Where am I going to trade if the market goes down? So where are the best high probability trade setups? That's what you always want to be asking yourself. Where is the best trade? Where is it? And you find out via your technical analysis. So with that said then, well, let's work out where would be some of the next best trades on Bitcoin. Again, I probably don't want to look at all the altcoins right now because it's going to be too long of a video. But on Bitcoin, we can start to look at high probability levels. So the CC recently has been an extremely well-respected level. So when we go from high to low there, look at this, the CC, Fibonacci, in the downtrend anchored VWAP. This is one of the ways that I nailed the short on Ethereum, by the way, absolute high 4,500. It was this confluent, well, the CC no, but we have the mini range, which I prefer. But we can start to say, well, if price starts to pull up towards $118,000 to 119.5, which is where you got this support resistance flip. So we always talk about support resistance flips, and it's where market finds support lost, flips into resistance. Okay, so this zone we can start to say is a very interesting zone of resistance, where what do we look for? We look for short trades. And expanded upon this, we at Chart Champions teach and trade based off of reactions. What does that mean? Well, we set the alerts. We right click, we set the alert. It's like on Ethereum, I said I'll wait for the fake out. So as soon as price hit 4,500, did I take the short? No. What did I do? I waited for here we go. I waited for the reaction. As soon as we broke out here, did I take the short trade? No, because no reaction, no trade. As I say here, I will alert you as soon as I enter the short. Why? Because I'm waiting for the confirmation. And it's the same on Bitcoin. It's the same theory. This is a very interesting place for a short, but I need to wait for the reaction. I need to wait for the order flow, the data, and the confirmation. So it's not just taking, so you can see here, step one is me saying, this is a very interesting place for me to short. But I'm not just going to randomly place a limit order and short there. Just as on Ethereum, that was a very interesting place for me to short, but I wasn't going to randomly short there. But what did I do? I made a plan to short there. Then step number two is the confirmation. It is this. It is waiting not just for price to move above the level, straight through the level, because if price just goes straight through, let's say if price just goes straight through there, do you want to be sat in a short trade from 118K? No, you don't, because now we're trading 128K. It's the same on Ethereum. Did I want to take a short at 4,500 with the risk that we go straight to 5,000? No, I wanted to wait for the confirmation. So when we go through the level, there's no short. Once we come back down below, once we saw the trapped traders, once we see the order flow and the data, well, I gave the alerts as soon as, again, within the minute of taking that short trade. That was the weakness that I wanted to see. Price in the end retested the CC and dropped all the way down to 3,500. So you can see step number one, make the plan. Step number two, place your alerts, wait for the confluence in terms of the actual context, lower term time frame confirmation. Step number three is then make your profits trading that plan once it's activated. So that's what I'm saying here. That is a very interesting place for me for a short. It's as simple as that, but I want to see that level of step number two, confirmation. And in terms of a drop to the downside, well, I think I'll be looking for the flats here first of all, and of course that means filling the wick and the confirmation. I wouldn't call this confirmation, but the data of the New York Open, which for me is very crucial data. And it's like, as a technical trader, everything that I do is based off of statistics. Okay, it's statistics, right? There's a lot of people might, oh, trading is so easy, right? Just go and relax all day on a beach and take a trade from the beach. You know, I'll tell you one thing, right? Listen carefully. This is scam central. You know, I've not missed a day of trading in like a decade. I've been here every single day. There has not been a day go by where you haven't seen me giving trading updates, taking trades, posting in the Discord, right? This is me every single day. And I'll tell you this, I didn't make the calls that I did through luck. I didn't make the calls that I did through spending 5 minutes a day at the computer. I made these amazing short trade calls, closing all of my longs in profit and going short with all that profit, not through luck, but through dedication, right? I will tell you this, trading is a long-term game. You cannot expect to come in and make profits tomorrow. It's not realistic. It's not possible. This is it. The people that say, "Oh yeah, just follow this, listen here for 5 minutes, trade on the beach, scam, 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 scam." Chart champions, this is real. We are not a signals group, right? Of course, there are some times where I'm giving these very nice heads up, but of course, there's no financial advice. This is not signals. Chart Champions is about the education. I want to teach you. I'm not hiding anything. Everything that I use to time these amazing trades, I teach. I'm not here to hand out fish. I'm teaching you how to fish, teaching you how to crush the markets. That is my passion. That is my calling from the Lord above. I am a believer. I am a Christian. And I truly believe that the Lord gave me this gift also to alert people to this job. I know, it's a fact, 19 billion of liquidations happened in this day. I know because I've seen it with people's writings. Anyone that followed along, like, look at this. If anyone followed my analysis, they wouldn't have lost a dime and they could have gained. And again, not financial advice, of course, but you understand. I didn't lose a dime on this move. I profited on this move. And so if I'd done it and I called it, of course, people could follow along in that regards. But I have to be, of course, very careful to say no financial advice. Right? We are an educational group. That's why I'm going here. I want to help you. Like, I'm not coming out here every single day because I need to. I have millions and millions and millions of dollars, and that's not to brag, but that's to say I do not need to be here for a financial gain. I'm here because I truly, truly, truly know and want to help you. I'm not going to be here forever. But I urge you to take that, have that sense of urgency to learn now. Stop losing money, taking bad trades, waiting for alt seasons. Like this guy says, literally following the wrong people. You follow 10 different traders. My percentage of your influence may be influencing you 20% because you got so much noise. I mean it, like, block the noise, dedicate yourself, put in the time. And this is possible. I really, 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 really mean it. Like, this is possible. I've seen people blow up their accounts. I've seen people get totally wrecked and they start again from scratch. So if this is your time, I tell you, please do not give up. Like, the worst thing that you can do right now is like what happened in COVID, like what happened in FTX. People got destroyed. They gave up. They missed out on what was to come. And you will miss out if you give up. And that's why I offer you, I understand how hard it can be. I've seen the stories. I've seen it, and I've heard it firsthand of people that have been wrecked. And it's unfortunate. Okay. A lot of people first come to Chart Champions with just a high percentage of them have the same story. Hello, I came in, I listened to this influencer XYZ, I got absolutely wrecked. Then I super luckily found you. Now I want to learn, I want to turn things around. But the majority of people that find us are coming off the back of getting wrecked. The algo is not promoting Chart Champions. This content is under the waters. The algo is promoting, hey everybody, it's alt season, just buy. Use my affiliate link, buy. We're not out here doing that. We are here saying, this is hard, this is going to take time, but you can do it if you dedicate yourself and learn. Anyway, if you did get wrecked, hey, take the lessons, understand what went wrong, and make sure it doesn't happen again. Because the worst mistake you can do is a mistake that you continue to repeat. That is madness, as they say. Don't be the madness, be a champion. Chartchampions.com. Truly, I have your back every step of the way. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you ever so much. And yeah, that is me signing out. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And I will say this before I end. Next week, like on this altcoin stream, I have another altcoin stream next weekend where we are going to be going through, once again, some major altcoin swing trades. Just as we managed to see those predictions play out. I've got another altcoin stream this week. And tomorrow, I'm going to be doing, guess what, another Champions live stream, much more in depth. Like this, of course, is a YouTube video. We're going to be going extremely in depth, finding the actual setups that we are looking to trade. I'll be going over the Elliott wave count in much more depth and just analyzing things and sharing honestly and fully and transparently my whole opinions and trades. So that's the Champions live stream, higher term time frame swing trading. And then I've also got an altcoin stream. And of course, throughout the week, I also have daily morning live stream updates. So, you know, for example, Monday, I'm going to be doing a swing trading champion stream. Tuesday, I'm going live in the morning to go through a daily morning trading update to get you ready for the day. Wednesday, I'm going live for an altcoin stream. Thursday, I'm going to go live for an altcoin stream, right? We also have Severin and Igor, where we've got live trading streams going on. They're also doing daily updates. They're also helping out in terms of the trades. If you don't know Severin and Igor, then you need to know them, because, you know, they're taking some absolutely epic trades and calls too. Like, anyway, I digress. If you want to see us, you know where to get us, chartchampions.com. Thank you ever so much. Hope you've enjoyed, and I truly hope that this video was helpful. Cheers, everybody. Thank you, and goodbye.